Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Wolf,
And my name is James Barney.
and today we're going to do another episode of I Think You Know. If you did not tune into our first segment of this, me and James decided to do a little series of episodes throughout our show about just quick, uh, either like analytical thing of something about Todd or a question. But the thing is, each of the hosts will think of an idea and not tell the other host until the recording of the show. So, for example, the first episode was James asked me, "What does TRI mean to you, or what does it mean in general?" And we talked about that. And now today, my question for James is, "What is your honest truth about Todd's Honest Truth, which was Todd's television show that aired during quarantine?"
Is it a television show or is it a computer show or a virtual show? I guess it's
Yeah,
a
I guess you
virtual
could
show,
call
right?
it
Virtual series.
a V show.
There you go.
Yeah,
A V
it's kind of
show.
like
There you
the
go. Just drop the T entirely. Um,
yeah, that's like the um variety show, I guess you could call it.
well, I should have known that you were going to ask me this, or I would have worn my hat, my Todd's Honest Truth hat. Um, I was wearing it earlier today. Anyway,
It's a good hat.
yeah. So the honest truth about the honest truth. Well, if there's one thing that I learned
Well,
about Todd.
before you get started, sorry to interrupt
Okay,
you.
sure, yeah.
Why don't you want one of us to explain a little bit like what it was, like how
Yeah,
it started and
go ahead
everything?
and explain for the people who don't know what Todd's virtual show.
So, the V show. So, unfortunately, if you were not able to watch any of these shows, you might still be able to if you pay the $15 subscription for each episode, which I thought was kind of a lot, but
Mhm.
whatever. I don't mind supporting Todd because he's my favorite, so whatever. And I did really enjoy the show a lot actually, and I'll explain why later in this episode. But excuse me. It was every 2 weeks, so it was usually like every other Friday around, and Todd would do like segments, and this mainly sparked because of the quarantine and everybody being at home and his tour being
Mhm.
canceled. So he wanted something for his fans to enjoy about him while they were stuck at home, couldn't go see him. And also, he's probably bored at home because, this guy travels the world probably 80% of the year, if not more,
Yeah.
touring and doing appearances and interviews and whatever,
Meanwhile, there's
traveling.
two dudes on Facebook Live in Cleveland going, "Hey, look at our Todd stuff."
Yeah, with our 10 viewers.
That's the Todd content that was out there at the time. So
Yeah, so thankfully somebody put something out better than us. I mean, you can't get any better than the man himself, I guess you could say. So,
yeah,
for
definitely.
example, he did like a lot of cooking segments. He did show off his fashion wardrobe. He did the Word of Todd. He would read a chapter out of his book.
Mhm.
There was some other random things where he would like talk to a friend on through video
Yeah,
chat.
and all that stuff's great, Zach, but I still have no idea what equipment he used on healing. So,
Yeah,
maybe the show wasn't.
there was a Q&A. I'll
Mhm.
admit some of the questions were that actually got selected were fun, I guess. Some of them were
Fun.
kind of
Fun's a good word
tacky.
for it. Yeah.
Um, but for me and James, the Todd nerds we are, we want to know, the most eccentric things about the guy. Like you said, what kind of equipment did he use? What does he eat for breakfast before a show? Or I don't know, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
um,
But I mean, we also have to acknowledge that that was 40 years ago for the guy. That's a different lifetime, I'm sure. So, I would have picked those more fun questions too myself, so I take that in consideration.
all right. So why don't you go ahead and
Well,
give
I
me your
mean,
honest
yeah,
truth?
Sure, all the honest truth on the honest truth. Okay, there's a lot of things that I enjoyed about the show. I already know how to cut an onion 6 different ways, so that was a rough introduction. I think I kinda put it earlier, 'cause I acknowledge the fact that the guy's 72.
Yeah.
I was kinda thinking that it would been maybe a little bit more thought out at some capacity, and I remember telling you, Zach, when it got announced. I was like, I kind of imagine this being like the desktop collection movie every week or
Mhm.
every other week or however long he did it. I think it was every other week, right? So I kind of expected it to be that, and instead, while things were fun, I still felt like there were certain things like the Lego property video stuff that had been on YouTube since like 2009 and 2011, what have you. Stuff that I
Mhm.
had already seen, and probably most people who are watching the virtual show may have already seen. But, I kind of I don't know Todd, I don't know his life obviously. I just know his work. But I kind of expected it to be like the desktop collection where, you know, and here's a fun thing that I put together a few years ago, and I don't think it really made the rounds. And here's this, and he shows some kind of broken video toaster, something. I don't know. I'm pulling that out of my ass. But something that hadn't really been circulated like a YouTube video. A YouTube video had already been around. I
Yeah.
enjoyed a lot of the people who contributed. I think they're called the Dystopians. They're one of my favorites. I think they did that White Album birthday cover. Say it's Todd's birthday. Uh, Bruce had mentioned that they were putting that together originally for our Todd
Yeah.
birthday show, and then it made its way to that instead, respectively, which of
Yeah.
course it deserves.
No offense. Yeah. If
Yeah,
you
no,
could give it
absolutely,
to us
absolutely
or
zero.
actually the man himself, I think you would be
Yeah, I
stupid
think
not
I would
to.
have done the same damn thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but shout out to Bruce Whetstone. He's a good dude. I've had a couple interactions with him. He's been a decent guy towards me. So there were certain things like that I had welcomed. I don't know, maybe I was expecting a little bit more skits of Todd and, Michelle and everybody at the house, and,
Like the Osbournes.
I yeah, but now we did have the Osbournes. We did have, the Word of Todd segment, a recurring segment every week, much like the, Todd's Wardrobe, which we'll get to, segment, and the cooking, which we've already discussed. The Word of Todd was interesting because as somebody who has 2020 vision, uh, for the examples that we have, we weren't there while Todd was producing a lot of the content that we listened to for most of that work, I would say, if not like 92% of it. Um, I
Yeah,
mean,
more
really, you really want
95%
to
of it.
break maybe even that. I'll say 90% because there's a lot of albums that I like that Todd has put out within my lifetime, notably White Knight. And Liars. But
Leaving Liars, though, I mean, how old were you when Liars came out?
I was 11. I remember when it came out. I remember my dad bringing it home. My
Yeah,
dad
no.
really likes that album. That's like my dad's next to No World Order. I'm pretty sure that's my dad's favorite album. But anyway, so the Word of Todd was interesting because I think that I kind of know how a lot of his philosophy is or has changed over the years based off of how many times I've watched Tepte documentary in my life, which is innumerable,
The greatest movie of all
and
time.
listening to his lyrics, which is also innumerable, and his interviews. So I kind of think, without knowing this person, without knowing the man himself, I think I have an idea of how he perceives different things and how he learns things and how he expresses that learning, which I'm very jealous of. I wish I could express knowledge the way that I've seen Todd do it. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff, unless it's about Todd. Very ironic. Um, but but I think it was very interesting to hear him touch on specific concepts such as time, uh, wealth, late, which is or labor. I think I remember him talking about that. Wealth is a measurement of labor. Um, and then there was something else too. Love, probably. I
Yep.
think that was another one, which is interesting just because, the verb to love and that being a really big part of my that song being a really big part of my life in my later teen years. The message behind it, et cetera, et cetera. And so I thought that was a really cool segment. Just this kind of brief uh scope into one specific topic with Todd that he's able to stretch out. But yeah, the cooking thing I could have done without, man. I don't.
Didn't like the
Number one, I
cooking?
have a yeah. Number one, I don't like cooking shows. So boom, right out the window. And I remember when I was getting upset about it was probably like the third or fourth episode. I was getting upset about this cooking stuff. And it's not like I wanted, Jackson Brown sitting in front of a bookcase in a fireplace uh singing his hits. It's not like I wanted Todd to go, "It was late last night" every other week. I didn't want that. I really didn't. But I just didn't like the cooking segment. However, I'm just glad that he has an outlet because I know that he really likes cooking. So I'm glad that he has an outlet. That's his creative outlet, respectively. Okay, now moving on to the wardrobe
Yeah.
pieces. I can't remember what was it called. What was the segment called? I remember
The song
the
was the
song,
personality crisis.
Split Personality. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow, wow, wow.
yeah.
And then they had
Every
like the
week.
naked dude with a diaper just like walking down the
Yeah.
runway.
I can't
Well,
remember what the
well,
segment was called.
I'll never mind. I'll wait till it gets to my reflection.
Okay, sure. And so I remember that because I
That
remember
was good.
enjoying that kind of stuff. Yeah, because I'm like, number one, I'm like, dang, I can't believe he's kept all this stuff over the years. But as a fashionista, or however you put it, fashionista, it kind of made sense that he does hold on to his lot of stuff. And so we were talking about the Q&A thing earlier. Zach and I, week after week, went in there and said, where are the TRI
Yeah, where
glasses
are
and
they? How
where
can
can
we
we
get them?
find them? Yeah, every week we would just go. We would be the first people at 5 p.m. when the link would go out and go, where are the TRI glasses? How can we find them?
And then we turn on the show, and he's wearing the
Well,
goddamn sunglasses. Well, no, he
okay,
brought
so
them out.
I got mad about the kitchen stuff, so I didn't watch the third or fourth week or whatever it was. But I got a text from you. It was a Friday night. I remember because it was date night. I got a text from you, and you were like, "He has them." I'm like, "Oh no!" And you didn't send a pic yet. I knew exactly what you were talking about, and you sent the
Oh
pic of
yeah,
him
yeah, yeah, yeah,
wearing it,
yeah.
and I was like, "What the hell?" The one week that I don't watch, and he's
He
got the
just pulled him
TRI
out of the like,
glasses.
he had Michelle probably handing him stuff,
Yeah,
and he just held them, and he's like, "Yeah, these are these sunglasses I used
crazy.
to wear. I got them from a San Francisco boutique in
hmm
the '90s, and I'm
And I
sure you guys."
remember texting you, being like, "Look it up. Look that boutique up. Look, we need to find these glasses."
Which didn't
Um,
exist anymore. And
sure.
he did say
Um,
in the show that it didn't exist either.
but yeah, we were trying anything to find them, and eventually we got them. Shout out to the people who led us in the right direction eventually.
When I found them though,
And
I feel like what ended up doing is just going on a vintage glasses like dead stock website,
mhm,
and they just popped up. It's like, really? It's been like how many years since I've been looking for these? 10 years?
yeah. So there when COVID hit and I was like really hitting the Todd stuff, especially when I was doing all that research on the Patreon episode, which again will eventually
It's
be
coming.
out. It's coming. It's a big project.
What we could do
Um,
with Todd relaunching it, we should get Todd on our show to talk about it.
coincide,
Yeah, that would be great.
coincide.
So Todd, if you're listening, we're ready for you.
But so yeah, I remember he had the white and black ones, which I had only seen once on the David Letterman show. I
And a
think he had
picture of Sting wearing
the
them.
Sting one that I sent you, which I found that on a fluke too. that picture came up in some, like, BS, so and so producer, A&R producer dies, and it was literally Sting, a picture of Sting from, like,
Oh,
the
with the
'80s.
producer wearing the
Yeah,
glasses.
and I was
Holy
like,
shit.
"Holy shit." I was like, "Sting's got him, we gotta get him. This is bullshit."
He
So,
probably got him from Roxanne.
I heard he told Roxanne that he can't stop losing you. Every, what are you
Every
gonna
every
say?
breath every breath you take when you wear those glasses, and
Every little thing she does is magic.
then when he wears the glasses and he's on the toilet, he goes a do dot dot
Oh,
dot.
and then he picks up his message in a bottle.
And then he writes to Todd and say, "Hey, will you produce the next Police album?" And he goes, "No."
Okay, oh, well, okay, wait. Okay, so leading on to that, the first question that he answered during the Q&A was my question,
It was, yeah,
which means that he said my name, which is pretty
he
sick.
did.
Yeah, and we got that on
And
cue
the
cue
answer,
cue the clip here.
the question was, if you could have produced any artist, right? Who would you like to produce, right,
Mhm,
James?
mhm. Oh, it
And
was over the last 50 years.
he said the Talking Heads because he was supposed to produce the Talking Heads,
Mhm,
but he didn't because he had other obligations. Because he's a busy guy. He's touring. He's making his own albums. He's making Utopia albums. He's doing computer shit. He's doing video. But Talking Heads is one of my favorite bands. That would have been great to hear
mhm.
you know a Todd influenced record by them.
Do you remember I think that I remember him saying that it was the debut Talking Heads album, but I think
Was
the
it?
last time we
I thought it
talked
was more like
about.
mid '80s.
Okay, I think I remember that the last time that you and I talked about it, I remember you telling me that.
But then
Um,
Brian Eno did it, who's another one of my favorites too. So it's
sure,
a win-win.
exactly. So, yeah, I can't remember what he said. We'll have to cue the clip. Cue
Yeah.
the clip here, Zach. So I don't know. All right, so the honest truth about the honest truth. I feel like it ended too abruptly. Very
Yeah,
strange.
he was just like, yeah, I ran out. He was drunk on the
He was
Burning Man
wasted
episode.
on that last episode,
He
yeah, and
was
he
wasted.
kept wearing the TRI glasses though, which was sick. That was
He was
sick.
partying. He had his big green cup, whatever drink was in there, Mai Tai or whatever. And then he's like, "Yep, I ran out of ideas, so I'm done."
Is that what he
Which
actually said?
pretty much,
Huh.
like, he elaborated a little bit more than that, but he was kind of like, "Oh, I've been doing this for 6 episodes now, and I just feel like there's nothing really else I have to say, so this is it."
Wow. Yeah, he
And
didn't
then he like
wanna.
went like this, like with this, his like James can see me right now, but he always goes like this, and like his little like Todd likes to like feather his hair and like play with his nose
Yeah,
when he talks.
just
You guys
the
know.
Toddisms.
It's like ticks,
Um,
Todd ticks.
so what was your honest truth about the honest truth?
So I saw every episode.
Right.
Um I loved it. When I first heard about it, I did not know what to expect at all. I thought it was gonna be him performing, to be honest. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And I know he said he wasn't gonna do that.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna pull some Jackson Brown bullshit, sit in front of the fireplace.
So
I knew he was gonna do that.
and then he ended up doing all of these like skits or sections or segments that he did that we have talked about in this episode so far,
Mhm,
and I liked them all. I liked the cooking. For me with artists, I've seen them in concert, I've listened to their records, I've researched them online, I've watched YouTube videos, but I really like the candidness of Todd's Honest Truth. Just kind of see him chilling at home doing his thing. Because if it's like an artist that you really enjoy, it's like cool. I don't know if it's like creepy, like I want to see where he lives and stuff, but it's like cool to see
mhm,
like just like innocent, just like hang out, like him playing cornhole with his kids. And um
mhm,
I love playing cornhole, by the way, too. But um the fireworks and the dressing up for the Burning Man and the outfits and all that stuff. And the Q&A
mhm,
was cool too, just learning questions about stuff. like we said, I would have liked maybe
Still
some.
don't know what equipment he used on healing.
Gotta
Is that
we
my
gotta
problem? Is that my
we gotta get him on
bullshit?
the show and ask him.
I mean, I will acknowledge that was 40 years ago. I wanna hear more about his recording No World Order. That's if we had him on the show, that would be what we would
We
talk
wouldn't
about.
even mention like something, anything. It'd be like, all
I
right, so
wouldn't talk about any of that,
tell us about
no.
the Todd Pod and the video toaster and um, you know, all that crazy stuff. Um, yeah, so I was saying like, the candidness of of the shows of just him just doing this fun stuff. I know the fans wanted him to perform. I mean, I don't know if that for sure, but I mean, I
Mm.
didn't talk to too many people. I don't really talk to people other than James. But like, um, I feel like that's what people expected, and I can see that got turned off by that. But again, Todd is a special artist that we're very lucky as fans that we can get all of this content from him, from music to his show that he did online of him cooking and playing with his dog. And it's cool. I don't know, like, you take like any other, X band, X is like a variable, do they have all this content out there? No, I don't think so, because I'm a super fan of a lot of different groups, and I very rarely see um, stuff like this, things he's done in the past. Um, People have touched on it, but um, I liked all the segments. I would have liked the questions to be a little bit more serious, maybe some more nerdy questions, but I know we're just trying to have fun and
Mm.
have goofy questions. I would have liked to maybe see more, like, maybe like, does he have like a studio in his house? Like, what does that
I
look
think
like?
you told me that there was just literally just him and his MacBook. I'm pretty sure that's what he always says, right?
True, but I'm sure
That that's the
he's
studio.
gotta have a room that has like a bunch of amps and guitars and keyboards and
Yeah, I
stuff. He's
always
got
wondered
to.
that, I don't know.
That would have
Yeah, I
been
mean,
like
right?
nice to see. Um, but overall, I really liked it, and it was something fun to look forward to when he did that. And as a super fan of Todd, I really liked seeing the candidness of his day to day life.
Mm,
Um,
mhm.
it was I was I remember the day of each show being at work, being like, oh my god, tonight's the Todd show. Let me get the popcorn and the beer ready. It's a big deal. So I think overall we should be lucky as fans that he did it. Um, and now I just want to make some deviled eggs and ramen now, and
Oh,
hopefully
did
he'll
he
do.
make ramen in an episode? I must have missed that.
Yeah, he made like legit
Maybe.
ramen at the beginning. He made a
I think
joke, and
wait, I
he
think
brought
I
out
remember
some
he made the joke
He brought
ramen.
out
I
some
do remember that now,
and he's
yeah.
like, "No, we don't make this
The
shit
shop
at my
ramen, yeah.
house." And then he brought out the
Yeah,
actual noodles and made the broth and the pork
I
and all
remember that
that
now,
stuff.
yeah, I remember that.
So I hope that maybe he does something like this in the future, with Todd's tour being canceled officially for next year.
Mhm.
Um, he did say he wants to um, do a virtual tour where you would buy a ticket for your town and you would see that specific show. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We also did learn for things in the show for the future of the state of his new album. We had the first single dropped already on some news websites on YouTube. But he wants to do singles on the Cleopatra website before he releases the entire album physically, because he
It's like
feels
Patreon.
like it's. I don't know if he specifically said Patreon. He meant more like Cleopatra Records. You buy singles off of there.
I said
That's
it's
the
like
label.
Patreon.
Oh, like Patreon. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um.
He
So
did he
yeah,
did say that the first episode because somebody asked because that's what I was curious about too. Somebody had asked him in the first episode, "What's the state of?" You mentioned a relaunch of Patreon. Like, what's the state of that? Is this it? And he goes, "No, this isn't it. But like, I'm working on it. I'm learning JavaScript right now. It's really tough." Which I feel. I'm sure, and I'm shaking my head here out of, like shrugging, but like I'm sure that we'll see it, right? I don't know why he wouldn't have announced it, and he announced it pre-COVID too, because I
yeah,
remember that Rolling Stone article. I remember I sent it to you. I was like,
yep.
dude, we need to get this Patreon episode out.
Yeah.
So that was
I
a
mean, I'm
while
sure. I
ago.
mean, he's got to have some time.
I
He's
mean,
not
he's got
touring.
time. Yeah, for the first time
Time
in his
keeps ticking
life,
away.
practically
Time keeps ticking away.
50
Time keeps ticking
years.
away.
I mean,
So,
when did Todd start like really touring like super hard? 73? By super hard, I mean like
yeah, sure.
more
That's probably,
than more than 180 days a year.
I would say probably the early 70s. I
Yeah.
don't know for sure, but it would make sense.
Mhm. I feel like a lot of that was with Utopia more than solo
You,
stuff.
you think he toured more with Utopia than solo?
Hey, you know where we can look this up? We can look this up on TR Connection.
We can.
All right, well, let's end this episode for now. We'll figure that out. So I think we gave a pretty good honest truth.
Yeah.
I got the hat because I got to spend 28 seconds with him via FaceTime. The first episode? Yeah, the first episode because it was his birthday going into my birthday.
Yep.
So got the hat, got to chat with him for 28 seconds. Um,
Hey,
but yeah,
it was all for the hat.
all for the hat. Yeah, I do like that hat a lot. So, alrighty. Well, anything else you want to add here, Zach?
No, if you haven't, I'll just say if you haven't checked out the Honest Truth, I don't know if it was broadcasted on Location Live's website, kind of like a concert meet and greet virtual platform.
I think you can also talk to Brett Favre though. So
You can. What are we doing? The Favre cast. All about Brett Favre.
The Green Bay Favre cast.
Yeah.
Oh
Um.
boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Check it out if you can. Uh. It's good. It would be really cool if maybe if Todd put out like a DVD with all the episodes together, like a little box set. I think that'd be pretty
DVD.
cool. Yeah,
I don't know.
Blu-ray, DVD.
Do people like buy DVDs and Blu-rays?
I do. Well, music
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
Todd stuff. Yeah, I don't really buy
I
movies
welcome
anymore.
it all in the digital realm. I would rather just it not be on the on Location Live website.
No, I want a damn DVD or Blu-ray with every goddamn episode on it with special features and bonus outtakes, and I can put it on my damn shelf.
There
That's what
you
I want.
go.
So
Hell
if you're
yeah.
listening on Location Live, get with Todd and put this shit out for us for the collecting purposes, for us collecting freaks.
Oh, that's right. Because
And
you mentioned the other day that you got the Liars
I did.
DVD,
Scored that on eBay for cheap. It's usually
and
rather
but you had
pricey.
oh really wow, and you had pointed out the bonus features.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff that
All
I've
right,
never seen before.
all right, we'll wrap this up. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, if you guys ever have any questions or want to be part of the Toddcast Cleveland, email us at toddcastcleveland at gmail.com. If you have any ideas for this segment, just give us like a random topic just to just kind of, shoot the shit for about, 20, 30 minutes about it. If you're interested in being interviewed, if you have a lot of things to say about Todd, we do this because we love Todd and his music and his career. And we want to discuss it with each other and all of you. And if you want to be a part of that, we'd love to take any um, applications, I guess you could say. That sounds too formal. you know, Inquiries or something like, oh yeah, I used to do. I was Todd's roadie in 1994, and
Oh man, and you helped set up the Todd Pod.
yeah,
Holy, who would who? Oh, I have so many questions.
yeah. So yeah, check us out
Alrighty,
on Spotify, YouTube, Apple.
I think there's a guy named like Randy the Roadie or something who was Todd's roadie for a long time.
I don't
I
know.
think this is like actually like a character that you've portrayed. This person like actually exists, and yeah, I think that's actually a person. The alliteration is unreal though. Randy the roadie.
Randy the roadie. So if you're listening, Randy the roadie, let us know.
Alrighty, well this is James Barney,
And I'm Zach Wolf.
and this is the Toddcast, and we're out.
See ya.